Welcome back to another episode of the Stage You See podcast. I am your host, Dr. Arianna, and I am so excited to be back. I am not going to lie, took a little break. Life was lifing as it is. Lots of things have been going on as they are with all of us. I speak to so many of you all dealing with aging parents, launching children out of the nest, figuring out what you want to be when you grow up. So all of those things are happening, and I have not been excluded. My parents are 85 and 86. And, there's a lot of thought that goes into these years and the time you want to spend with those parents, those loved ones, if they're still around, wanting to savor those moments, also wanting to, launch your children and help them get through all the things. My son, who's on the spectrum, was able to find a program for him. And he has been there for several weeks now. And that has been a huge, huge kind of load, so to speak, because that was something I was carrying. It was just a challenge. He had been living at home for the last few years, and I didn't realize until he left and now is at this residential program. I just didn't realize how much was kind of weighing on me and the heaviness of it all. Managing your kids, managing your parents, running a business, all the things. So life has been lifing. And I also took some time off to do the things. One of the most life impacting things I did was attend a meditation retreat by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So if you are not familiar with his work, I would say take a look. He wrote the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, You Are the Placebo, and Becoming Supernatural was his most recent one. And so I was familiar with the work. I had not really delved into the meditative techniques. And so that has been really life-changing for me, learning to sit still and meditate for over an hour daily. Now, I'm not still because these are guided meditations, but they've helped me so much. And I never thought in my wildest dreams I'd be able to sit and meditate for that long. But what I have found is that it's kind of saved my life, because during my hiatus, my husband was diagnosed with bladder cancer. I got COVID. My mother was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and it was a whole thing getting my son to this program in Utah. So I've always been intrigued with quantum physics and the power of the mind and our ability to manifest and how all of things work together. And I have to tell you, after attending his retreat, it just helped me so much to connect really what my analytical mind protests when my spiritual kind of woo-woo side wants to, come to the party. And what he was able to do for me is really just merge these two worlds in a way so that I could actually see the science around the spirituality that I've known and experienced in these 59 years. And it just kind of helped put it all in a context for me. He had researchers from the University of San Diego, I believe, even researchers from Stanford and Harvard. They're doing the work to really understand really the power of the mind. And we are going to be delving into a little bit that as well this season, because I really want to share with you some of the powerful things I've learned and just expose you to some ideas that you may or may not be familiar with. I've always wanted for this podcast to be an extension of what felt good and what I wanted to relate. And sometimes when life is lifing a lot, you got to take a break, step back, and just do what you got to do for yourself. So I did that. And I appreciate you all that are here again. I appreciate the new followers. And I would ask you now, please, if you are listening, please like, subscribe, do all the things, download. I'm hearing great feedback, and that's really why I'm back, because people are listening and I need to know that you're listening so that I will keep doing it. But I also want to get your feedback. I really want this to be more interactive. So if you can find that time, messages in the comments are great. I can give you some more details on how you can communicate more, even on social media, whatever floats your boat. But I'm here. I really want to hear about what you're thinking, how this is impacting you. If you have suggestions on topics that you want me to delve into a little bit more, all of that, I would love to get your comments. But we have a great season coming up. I am excited. I am more intentional about the content that I want to share. And I have some really special guests that I can't wait to introduce you all to. So it will be, as usual, mostly a hybrid between me going on a few rants and then also inviting some very special women in to share really just some beautiful ideas, concepts. We're going to be doing something called Not Therapy with Dawn. And one of my favorite artists I'm going to get to interview, and I'm so excited. Her name is Toni Jones, and she actually started out as a psychologist and then went into music and really wanted to give her clients, I think, something more to walk away with. And so she started creating these affirmations through song. And I have to tell you, they are so deep and rich. She is just all up in my playlist. So I'm so excited to have that conversation with her. And I can't wait to share that with you. The theme for this season is about evolution. What it's not about is your menstrual cycle. From cycles to seasons, it's not about your menstrual cycle, ladies. It's about your evolution. And I have really been exploring this idea of the evolution and really what is required for me to just continue to spiritually just keep moving to the next level. You know, growing up, we're really taught that our womanhood, our femininity, our worth, our value is really tied to our reproduction, our ability to reproduce. And menopause, by definition, is the cessation of your menstrual cycles. In fact, it's 12 months of no menstrual cycle. That said, so many of you are asking the question, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Am I in menopause? I'm not there yet. And it's like, girl, you're there. You've been there. And this has been such a poignant theme for me that I feel like I want to really dedicate the whole season to this idea of our evolution and this idea of really releasing the cycle, this idea that, you know, we're here to menstruate, cycle, and then at the end of that, it's just a wrap. Like there's nothing else to offer. I am here in full protest to all of that to say, that menopause is not the end. It is actually the beginning. It is the beginning of your journey. It is the beginning of your exploration to yourself. Midlife is not a crisis. It's a calling. And I think the sooner that we accept that this is a calling, that this is a new space that we're in and that we have to learn how to navigate it completely differently than we've navigated anything before, because this time around, it's not about getting permission. It's not about waiting. It's not about making sure that you've taken care of everybody else. It really is about looking at your life, looking at the time you have left and asking yourself, what am I here to do? Am I doing that thing? Am I living the best version of myself that I can imagine? And I think where some of us get caught up in the whole thing, where a lot of our stress comes from, what I see in talking to patients, clients, is this resistance. It's the resistance to doing the work. It's the resistance to aging. It's the resistance to accepting the changes that come with this time. And yes, there are going to be definitely some changes that we do not appreciate. But at the same time, there are some beautiful changes that we are here to embrace. And emotionally, you know, this is a time where old wounds might surface and things that you buried kind of rise up, and things that you've been able to just kind of keep at bay and not really pay attention to. This is a time when those things start whispering in your ear, those yearnings, those irritations. There's a new thing out. I think her name is Melanie on TikTok or Instagram, and it's a We Do Not Care Club. And it's gaining lots of popularity. And I'm so excited that it's getting that popularity. But I also want to remind you all why you do not care anymore. And it's part of this season. It's part of your evolution. It's literally the changes that your brain is making around the hormone shifts that are happening. As our estrogen levels decline, our brain chemistry is literally changing. We go from being the nurturers to the We Do Not Care Club. And I think it's just important to understand why you are physically, neurochemically, spiritually experiencing some of these changes. I think spiritually, something even deeper is happening during this phase. Our identity shifts, our purpose deepens, and we begin to see what actually matters. So, this midlife time is not an ending, it's an invitation for us to dig deeper. And I would say that, either way, you got to do the work. You can do the work and suffer, or you can do the work and evolve, and we can grow. It's your choice. On that note, I'm going to give a couple of how to's while we're on this journey. How do we step into this evolution with power instead of fear? So, the first one is shifting your perspective. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? The question is, what is this season asking of me? And looking at symptoms and signals, because the symptoms are there. Maybe that symptom is a palpitation. Maybe that symptom is anxiety or just a pressure, a heaviness that you're feeling. Maybe that symptom is insomnia. And that's not to say that your hormones for sure are not playing a huge role, but sometimes our bodies are definitely speaking to us. And oftentimes it really means instead of reaching for a pill or something to mask that symptom, it's really what we have to ask of ourselves. So asking, what is this happening? Why is this happening to me? I remember last year I had this period where I just had so many palpitations. I'm telling you, I'm 15 years out of menopause. I was like, what is happening? Why am I having these palpitations? And I remember when they showed up during a period where I was going through a whole bunch of stress, and I was just like, but I'm always under stress. Like, why is this happening now? And I had to really force me. I went, I saw the acupuncturist, I went to the cardiologist. I needed to make sure that, there wasn't something more sinister going on, and nothing, no one could find anything. And so much of the work that I have been doing recently is asking myself the question of, why are you feeling this way? Where is this coming from? And digging deeper, not just accepting that this is a palpitation. I'm going to take a medication to make me stop having it. Number two, and how do we step into this evolution with power instead of fear? Nourishing our body. Our bodies are totally recalibrating. And that's so much of what you're feeling right now. Your body is going from a reproductive phase to a non-reproductive phase. And those hormones are doing all the things. The worst part oftentimes of this is during the period of that transition. And so it's not that your hormones are high or that they're low, but it's what's happening as they are going from high to low. Perfect example. I saw a patient just the other day. She had new onset, kind of worsening insomnia, worsening anxiety. She is like, what is happening? I was taking hormone therapy. Like, I feel like nothing is helping me. I'm just beside myself. And so, I asked all the questions, what's going on in your life? Give me an idea what's going on with your diet. Are you drinking? Like, what are all the things? And she actually was doing so many things great. I mean, she's exercising, she's out in nature. Her diet seemed really clean. She's even journaling her symptoms and asking herself, like, where is this coming from? So what I was so impressed was that she actually took the time and did that work of asking and sitting down with herself and asking her body, like, well, what's happening here? What message do I need to get? And, that's her personal journey, and she'll figure parts of that out. But what I did come to realize is that when she started her hormone therapy, she actually was at the very beginning of her menopause transition. And now she's going through the more tumultuous phase where it is really the erratic hormone spikes. And those are what really drives a lot of the symptoms. So many of these symptoms you experience are not, again, about your hormones being low. It's actually what's happening as they're fluctuating up and down. So just think again, like it's this reverse puberty. And even on hormone therapy, it can be a struggle to keep all of this together, but understand that your symptoms are symptoms, but they also are signals. And it is not a bad idea to think about how you can listen to your body, nourish your body. And as it's recalibrating, think about all the things that help you recalibrate, balancing your hormones, intentional nutrition, joyful movement. I am going to be signing up for a pole dancing class. I think next week I'm going to start it, but I got to start moving my body in a more joyful way. I also used to do African dance. I used to dance when I lived back east, and I was a part of a dance troupe. And living where I live now, there just is not as many opportunities for me to express myself that way, but I'm exploring that as well. And I encourage you to nourish your body, figure out what it is that you really want to do with your body, with your mind. What do you want to create? How do you want to feel? And then third, in ways that we're going to step into this evolution with power instead of fear, is claiming our power. And that is about setting boundaries, exploring your own desire, and speaking affirmations into your life, because we are not shrinking, we are expanding. And so setting boundaries, huge. And that just really gets back almost to the whole we do not care idea of setting this boundary that, you do what you're going to do. I'm going to do me. And really just being firm with it. I've noticed that even with my relationship with my husband, and as we've been married going on 26 years, actually next month. And we've been together at least 27, 28, so 29 maybe. Anywho's, I'm learning. I'm not going to lie. I'm learning to really, I like set boundaries and things that I just kind of was like, okay, but now I'm just like, no, actually, I'm not going to do that. And it's so funny, his reaction, because he's just was like, oh, okay. This isn't the best example, but my stepson or granddaughter, they came to town and they were going to Phoenix to a water park. And my husband wanted to take them to this water park. And he really wanted me to go. But it's Phoenix and it's July. And I was like, there's going to be a whole bunch of kids and it's going to be hot. I don't want to do that. And I don't know. I felt so empowered. I thought about it because I really wanted to spend time with them. I wanted to participate in the family activity. My daughter was going, her girlfriend, everybody was going. And I didn't want to be that person to just not go. And I might have in the past been like, oh, I'm just going to go and kind of tough it out. But I was like, actually, I'm not going. I don't want to go. I don't need to give you a reason, but here's the reason. It's hot. I don't know how many kids are going to be in that pool. I looked and saw that there was basically no shade, and I knew I wasn't going to be hanging out in the pool with all of these children. So I was like, yeah, that's just not what I'm going to do. What I did instead, I stayed home. I created a fabulous meal. So when they got here, they were well fed, and that's how I expressed my love, but it was not going to the water park. So sometimes just setting those boundaries, again, just being able to be like, actually, I don't want to do that. And I'm not going to do that. And sometimes not even giving an explanation. It just is what it is. If you've already gotten to there and you're good with that, God bless you. Good for you. So thank you all for being on the journey with me, for coming back here for another season. Like I said, please share with your friends, like, download, do all the things. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe. And you'll be hearing a little bit more this season about kind of what's going on at Tula Wellness as well. I will try to do a nice mix of inspiration, education, and of course, evolution. That's what we're all about this season. As usual, stay brilliant, stay beautiful, but most of all, stay juicy. I'm Dr. Arianna, and I will see you on the next one.